Battlestar Galactica, Sunday afternoons at 6 on WFTX, TV 36.
Tonight, the Persian Gulf War erupts with renewed intensity. Wooing Syria, foreign policy with a split personality.
That we were dealing with vicious acts of terror to which we could have responded with courage, which we did not.
On the Health Beat, a newly born support group for surrogate mothers.
Let's stop it. Let's not have any more terrorists.
And Quitting Time. Experienced teachers, nurses, and social workers are moving on. A national crisis.
I was suddenly a single parent, and I really needed to make enough money to take care of myself and my family.
From the Independent News, this is USA Tonight with Morton Dean.
Good evening. The capacity for violence in the Persian Gulf appears endless. For 3 days, Iraq has been punishing Iranian targets from the air. Iran has now struck back, its method of attack seeming almost out of step in this age of high-tech computer-controlled warfare. The Iranians used small speedboats to approach a Kuwaiti freighter. On the speedboats, crewmen fired grenades from shoulder-mounted launchers. Machine gun fire also raked the freighter. Damage was above the waterline, no major damage, and none of the Kuwaiti freighter's 32 crewmen was hurt. It should be emphasized that U.S. warships were not protecting that Kuwaiti ship. The U.S. convoy mission was 200 miles from the scene of the Iranian attack today.
Captain.
Last year, Western intelligence said Syria was linked to an attempt to blow up an Israeli airliner. In London, a Palestinian had given an unusual going-away gift to his unsuspecting pregnant girlfriend. It was a time bomb. The plot was foiled. In protest, the U.S. ambassador to Syria was recalled. Jeff Kamen reports the ambassador, William Eagleton, is now returning to Syria.
When Ambassador Eagleton steps off the plane in Damascus, he will find himself in a country which is still very much involved in sponsoring international terrorism. But so far as direct, immediate U.S. interests are concerned, there has been at least a cosmetic change. Abu Nidal, the assassin directly responsible for dozens of atrocities around the world, including the Christmas 1985 massacres at the airports in Rome and Vienna, has been publicly ordered by Syria to leave his office in Damascus, an office from which Nidal and company conducted their blood-soaked business with Syria, Libya, and other terrorist states. But Nidal's organization is believed to have been allowed to move its base of operations into Syrian-controlled Beirut. The other day in the Lebanese capital, Syrian armed forces assisted in the return to freedom for American hostage Charles Glass, and President Reagan thanked Syria publicly. But at the same time, Syria has not used its powerful army to drive out of Beirut the fanatical Shiite Muslim terrorists who kidnap Americans and in 1983 blew up 241 U.S. Marines. Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger said then that Syrian military intelligence had built the bomb driven by the suicide terrorists. A frequent critic of Reagan anti-terrorism policy, Dr. Robert Kupperman, today supported the president's decision to send Ambassador Eagleton back to Damascus.
I think the decision is practical. It's hardly idealistic. I mean, you're dealing with awfully despicable governments involved, particularly the Syrian government. It does mean that we have an increased chance of legitimately obtaining the hostages, release of some of the hostages, without having to make embarrassing concessions.
The way I remembered it was only about a year ago that you were criticizing the Reagan administration for hitting Libya and not striking Syria, which you said then was even more responsible for international terrorism.
But those were different times. And politics is the art of the possible. And indignation lasts only so long. We were dealing with vicious acts of terror to which we could have responded with courage, which we did not. But now life has gone on. They have helped us.
Syria is still one of the 5 countries the State Department accuses of sponsoring international terrorism. The other 4 are South Yemen, Cuba, Libya, and of course, Iran. None of those 4 countries has a U.S. ambassador in residence or one heading there anytime soon. The fact that Ambassador Eagleton is on his way back to Damascus shows how important Syria is in the American calculation of the Middle East situation. This is Jeff Kamen at the State Department.
A proposal today to the U.S. from the Soviet Union. The U.S. could set off a nuclear bomb in Soviet territory, while the Soviets could conduct a nuclear test in Nevada. The possibilities are being offered by Moscow in response to a U.S. proposal for the monitoring of nuclear tests. Both test explosions would be conducted for the purpose of calibrating monitor equipment. The proposal appeared to catch U.S. officials by surprise. The Federal Ethics in Government Act allows for the naming of independent counsels to investigate possible wrongdoing by federal officials. The Reagan administration, through the Justice Department, is now challenging the constitutionality of naming independent counsels. However, the challenge, if successful, will not affect the independent counsels who are investigating the Iran-Contra mess or Attorney General Edwin Meese's financial dealings. The investigation of former White House insider Michael Deaver likely would be affected. And still ahead on USA Tonight, testimony from surrogate mothers who feel trapped in contracts for birth. And next, Cerritos, California, where the vivid memories of 1 year ago, memories of sudden death and destruction, are shaping new lives.
I can't believe we made it. And then I realized my son Robbie was outside. And I thought, oh, I lost one.
USA Tonight, brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes and by Polident.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes has a unique crunch that I don't hear with any other cereal.
Kellogg's Cornflake Crunch. That's what that was.
You just pour them in a bowl, pour some milk over them, get your spoon, and just munch out.
Crunch.
The crunch makes it taste better. I have to work hard to keep my mouth closed because it's so noisy.
Cornflakes from Kellogg's. What more could you want from a cereal?
Well, you have to get excited over something. Why not Kellogg's Corn Flakes? It's a great cereal.
Dad, send the money by noon, or you won't be coming to my graduation in June.
Send the money today, or your father and I couldn't be washed away.
Darling, I've run into a little trouble. Could you send $150 on the double?
To send someone money fast, come to Western Union. We'll make sure it gets to any of our 9,000 locations, usually in 15 minutes or less.
That's okay. I'll get the door.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
The natural wonders of the Everglades, the product of centuries of evolution, are yours to experience at Wooten's Airboat and Swamp Buggy Tours. Take a swamp buggy ride through dense vegetation, or fly through the flowing grasslands that are the Everglades. Wooten's Airboat and Swamp Buggy Tours, 35 miles south of Naples on US 41.
Don't miss the Night Owl movies on TV 36. Pure entertainment that's worth staying up for.
Tragedy in Thailand. 83 people were killed when a Thai Airways jet on a domestic flight plunged into the sea off southern Thailand. 2 Americans were among those killed. There were no survivors. The 737 was 8 miles from its destination when it reportedly took evasive action to avoid another plane. Witnesses say the Thai Airways jet plunged into the water, bursting into flames on impact. Near Miami, Florida, a student pilot and another pilot flying a small plane were practicing landings this morning. They didn't make it. Both aircraft collided over the busy Opa-locka airport, crashing just yards away from rush hour traffic. The helicopter pilot was killed, but the plane's pilot and his flight instructor were able to walk away from the accident. Federal officials say both pilots were talking to the control tower when they collided. The flight instructor said his plane was given permission to land. The crash is under investigation. After the rescue crews and reporters have left, after the investigators have packed up, a plane crash leaves behind a legacy of painful memories, and so it is for the people of Cerritos, California. 1 year ago, the community was shattered by a collision between a jetliner and a small plane. Many on the ground were killed. Andrea Kaiser reports on how residents are coping 1 year later.
It impacted. A second later, it exploded.
I was sad that this is the way we're going to die, and I regretted it such a brutal way. But I said, just don't let it hurt and let my family not suffer. Let's just go fast.
A year ago, the Nelson family was sitting down to lunch when a plane fell from the sky on their house and dozens of others in this quiet upper-middle-class neighborhood. The Nelsons lived to talk about the mid-air collision that claimed the lives of 67 people in the sky and 15 people on the ground.
I can't believe we made it. And then I realized my son Robbie was outside. And I thought, oh, I lost one. I lost one. The next thing I know, this wonderful little boy appeared on the front lawn, face gray, a mess. He had an empty paper plate because his lunch had blown away, and he said, "Mom, my lunch blew away." And I said, "That's okay. I just can't believe you're alive."
The fact that we lost part of the house and possessions is one thing. The fact that we're still able to talk about it is another. We've talked about it a lot. It's not a day goes by that we don't discuss it at some form or another.
But not everyone has been able to pick up the pieces. There are still 4 vacant lots in this neighborhood, stark reminders of the fire that consumed more than a dozen homes. 1 year later, this Cerritos neighborhood is slowly but surely being rebuilt, and life is starting to get back to normal.
Our neighborhood is back. We still have one house on our block that hasn't been finished yet. But we will get back. It'll never be the same because the same people aren't here.
Every time you walk down the street, you just picture where the airplane went down. You just see everything all over again.
But on this 1-year anniversary at 11:56, the exact moment the plane crashed, everything stopped. People gathered around a vacant lot to cry, to comfort, and to pray for the victims. Relatives of those on the plane were drawn to this street in memory.
The reason we're here is because we feel that they're here. They're not over there where they're buried now.
Except for a few burn marks on the streets and sidewalks, there are very few physical scars left in this Cerritos neighborhood. But the emotional scars are harder to erase. Psychologists say survivors and eyewitnesses to such tragedies sometimes experience post-traumatic stress syndrome. A USC professor studied the effects of that crash on reporters and other professionals.
It's a basic human reaction to seeing a disaster where the person has been disrupted from normal life and is reacting to the horror of the situation.
But for many families in this neighborhood, this anniversary represents a chance to close a book on this sad chapter of their lives.
I always been interested because they always draw a son that's frowning.
In Cerritos, California, this is Andrea Kaiser reporting.
And still ahead on USA Tonight, a crisis in the health profession. Teachers, nurses, and social workers getting out of the business. And next on the Health Beat, the pain, emotional, and legal of surrogate parenting.
Let's stop it. Let's not have any more Sarahs.
Here's Martha Ray with big news.
Folks, it's official. The big mouth is now the fresh mouth. And here's why. Introducing Super Strength Polident, now with a minty mouthwash ingredient, so it freshens dentures as it cleans them. Look, new Polident Super Strength powers away tough food stains. And now the minty mouthwash ingredient freshens your dentures. So take it from the fresh mouth. Try new Polident Green or Mint Fresh Smoker's Polident. They freshen while they clean.
I'm doing okay for a guy who never went to college. But I want even more for my kids. And so much depends on their teachers. What a job they've got. I mean, keeping them interested, motivating them to get ahead. Let me tell you, I've got a tough job, but teaching is no walk in the park. Yep, next to me getting a raise, I'd give one to those teachers. I mean, we're talking about my kids.
The August buyer's forecast from Tom Steimus.
At Tom Steimus, you'll select from over 200 custom vans. Executive raised roof that lists from $20,000, $21,000, $22,000 from $16,899. $16,899. Brand new conversion vans from $13,866. Tom Steimus, #1.
Recommendations buy now. At Tom Steimus, Fort Myers.
Hello, I'm Leonie Janulis, and this is Acora Import Designs. I would like to show you some of my favorite decorative pieces from all over the world. This is carved onyx from Mexico and Pakistan, each one uniquely colored by nature. Hunan jade and hand-carved soapstone from China. There's much, much more, so come in and see for yourself. Acora Import Designs in the Town Center in Naples on the East Trail.
Have not made any progress, and due to a lack of progress,